It's a hot Texas summer and the bite is just as fired up. Offshore, mahi, marlin, and tuna are running strong, and inshore, redfish are moving shallow.
That's right, Bree. And on the lakes, the bass and the crappie, they are scattered, but still catchable. You're watching the Texas Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Bri Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, welcoming you into August already. And you know what? The dog days of summer, Rick, sure have arrived.
We really do have the dog days of summer, you know, and Bink and I were talking before the show started, and he's saying what they're doing to offset this is to go real early. And they come home a little early, so you know what? It makes a good day of fishing.
Great day, full of projects, snacks, and lunches and meats, whatever you want. But before we get to fishing, let's head to the Parts View workbench and give a big Texas hello to Dave Farrell.
Hello.
What's going on this week, Dave?
Well, we're going to be talking about kingfish. You know, this is the time of year when the big kingfish come in closer, and hopefully we can get out there and get some for the smoker.
That's it.
Sounds yummy to me. All right, let's begin in the Project's Middle Coast region, where reef hopping for trout, red fishing at the jetty, and trolling weed lines for Dorado with Captain Bink Grimes. What's going on, Bink?
Hey, we've been leaving really early, you know, hour before daylight. It's early to the dock, early out, early to the dock. The heat's really been getting us, but the winds are calm. West Matagorda Bay remains steady. Those grass beds are holding good trout on the incoming tide on bass assassins, mirror soft dines, and sheep up. Again, it's an early bite. Get there early. We've had some early bites this week that just disappeared right at sunrise. So if you don't get out early, sometimes you don't get the bite. Port O'Connor have been just as hot. Deep reefs in San Antonio Bay, much like East Matagorda Bay, are holding trout along the edges. There are hundreds of reefs in the middle of that bay. Many of those captains are just hopping from reef to reef. Waiting the incoming tide around Pascaval has been good with a lot of fish caught on top waters. And spots like City Slickers, the Cedars, and the Old Coast Guard Station are holding fish over sand and grass. Multiple 7-pound trout have been released while drifting in East Matagorda Bay. We're finding shell in that 5 foot of water, soaking a gulp or one of those gulp dragon tails, or jigging bass assassin sea shad around Raymond Shoals, the pipeline, the log, and the tripod. Waters are really pretty right now. Waders have reached the same trout, working mid-beat reefs like Half Moon, Three Beacon, and Droll's Lump. Keys bidding to leave well before sunrise. Make your first catch just as you're seeing the first sign of dawn. Rockport anglers are teasing trout with bass assassins on 1/8 ounce jig heads. Guts on the edge of the sand and grass are holding most of those trout. Topwater's been solid around super flats and mud out on the incoming tide. The surf got right for one day last week, and it was good as I've seen it since the freeze in 2021. I caught trout after trout on pearl mirror lure sheep ups on the second bar on the incoming tide. We power pole down on that second bar and just went to work on it. I can't tell you how much fun we had. Photo there's a trout from that morning surf. It's great to see our trout fishery doing so well. It's only because our Texans are putting conservation before self and just really taking care of our fishery. Redfish action improved this week. Lots of slot-sized reds pulled off the shoreline and found refuge in the middle of East Matagorda Bay. That pattern's been to look for slicks and then drift behind the oily sheen. When you get to a big herd, you power pole down and work the area. There have been many days when we've had 3 rods bent, hooked on the same time, and just, a big circus going on with 3 big old reds on at one time. There's lots of slot-sized reds on the Matagorda Jetty as well. That's what we kind of been doing last week. I hope to do it this week. Go get your trout and come to the jetty and fish for those reds. A lot of menhaden coming right through the Gulf right now, and a lot of those reds are right behind them. The same scenarios playing out in Freeport, Surfside, and Port O'Connor Jetty. Don't be surprised. Those big trout eat those pogies as well. At jetty trout and redfish, they all run together at the same meal this time of year. And those tarpon are not far behind. Don't be surprised if the Gulf trout start to show. There's a hardy fires, are excellent table fare. A large Gulf trout's about 2 pounds. Don't be surprised by a 3-pounder. They bite best on those live shrimp and glow soft plastic. Offshore, the big pond is really calm right now. Gulf shrimp season opened about a week ago, and the better action for kingfish has occurred behind those shrimp boats. Guide Michael Becker said those weed lines have a lot of Dorado. They're rigging ballyhoos and deep diving crankbaits. Lots of little chicken dolphin along the weed lines as well. Those weed lines are holding triple tail just off the beach as well. Tarpon should begin to show in the coming days. Those menhaden are moving in right now. Those tarpon are doing nothing but shadow them. There's going to be some tarpon caught this week in Matagorda as well. That's another great week in the Process Smokehouse Middle Coast region. It's a great time to grab a sausage, pack in your boat. Man, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make a wait. I'm coming back, getting me a piece of sausage, and just getting recharged. Please keep taking care of our bays, and please release more than you keep.
All right, Bink, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says that the trout are good at City Slickers and Port O'Connor on red shads, and hot chicken bass assassin, the redfish, are best, while drifting the slicks in the middle of East Bay.
And then a nice Prosecco meat stick snack. Sounds
That's
good to me.
it.
All
Come
right,
on.
summer patterns are at the Phillips and Jordan Upper Coast region's doorstep, so let's find out how we're adjusting with Captain Mickey Eastman. Go for it, Mickey.
Hello, Bree and Rick. All right, let's get started. The Phillips and Jordan Upper Coast region. Speckled trout, let's get going with those. Speckled trout in Galveston Bay Complex. Warmer temperatures, that's the pattern that's starting to change to the deeper structure over oyster reefs and deeper rock groins. That's where cooler currents flow. Softer mud and shell mix along with ship channel are starting to produce a lot better catches with soft plastic and live shrimp. And the trout are moving out deep to a deeper structure throughout the complex, like the Exxon A-Lease area, loaded with gas wells, and it's loaded with shell around all those above water structures like the old gas wells and platforms. There's numerous reefs in this area. Water depths in this area range from 7 to 12 feet. Chartreuse, silver bass assassin, paddle tails, gulp shrimp, and live shrimp working best. And water shaping up, so look for bait balls of shad, diving gulls, slicks, and mud boils. That'll locate you some bigger schools of fish, especially in the middle of the day. Galveston beachfront, we had a little calm down and had some really great catches along the seawall there in Galveston and near San Luis Pass on the beachfront. And when the water conditions are green at the beach, that's the method. Top water spoons, mirror lures working great. Water clarity is good, 89 degrees, and best bite's been early, midday on a moving tide if you have it. And moving over to Sabine Lake, conditions are improving daily over there. This place is really shaping up fast, and jetties are, fishing those early with soft plastics and live shrimp. They're producing some really nice trout early in the morning. The lower channel below the causeway, that's near Lighthouse Cove and the LNG plant. They're holding good numbers of specks over shell along those ledges in 6 to 8 feet of water, and throw soft plastics and pearl and chartreuse for best results. Water clarity is fair and 89 degrees. In Main Lake Deep Shell, north of the causeway, it's producing a lot of trout in 6 to 8 feet of water on saltwater assassins and slamming chicken and red shad. Look for diving gulls in the Main Lake near Blue Buck Point and Garrison's Ridge. They're holding about 5 to 7 feet of water. Trout are chasing shrimp in early morning hours. This week's speckled trout photo, that's courtesy of Captain Blaine Fryermood. And moving over to redfish, action's picking up with a warmer temperature. Fish shallow early over grass and shell where schools are running shad and shrimp tied to the shoreline. Use topwater spoons and soft plastics. And later in the day, move out to open bay waters and look for birds, slicks, and mud boils for your bigger schools in the heat of the day. In redfish action, it's been fair to good along those rock groins in Galveston Bay with live shrimp and gulp, and redfish action picking up in the upper ship channel area with gulp, turbo shrimp, and crankbaits. Water's fair and 89 degrees, and Sabine Lake redfishing pretty much the same. It's been fair to good depending on wind conditions. Lower channel area along oyster beds near Lighthouse Cove and the LNG plant, producing undersized and slot redfish on soft plastics and crankbaits. Throw bright-colored baits in that dingy water. Sabine jetties, fair numbers of redfish on live shrimp, split shock, and a treble hook. Call it free shrimping. Water conditions are fair and 87 degrees. In this week's redfish photo, Captain Steve Hellman. And offshore, it's really hot now. The winds have laid down. Dolphin catches are really good out of Galveston with good numbers of chicken dolphin along weed lines and occasional 20 to 30 pound size also. And tuna's been good around the deep rigs early in the morning and just after daylight. And snapper fishing, can't say enough about it. It's red hot, 50 to 60 miles out over hard spots and rocks. And ling fishing, it's starting to heat up a little bit. Sailfish are being caught along with blue marlin and some white marlin. And swordfish are being caught in 2,000 feet of water. And offshore fishing overall is really good. This week's photos, swordfish is from Outcast Charters, and that nice dolphin from Outcast Charters also out of Galveston.
Nice job, Mickey. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Phillips and Jordan Upper Coast region. They say that the lower Galveston Bay and upper Galveston Bay along the ship's channel are holding good schools of trout and redfish over the deep shell and well pads. Exxon A lease is full of fish over the shell, and then guess what? The Galveston beachfront is producing good number of trout as well. But Bink and Mickey reported the trout on the beach.
They did, and on the coast, instead of the dog days, we should be saying the Dorado days of summer.
There you go.
There we go. All
Listen
right.
to her, what she said.
The lower fresh region is coming up next, and it's about as good as it gets. But first, we're seeing how good Dave Farrell is for rigs and techniques at the Parts View workbench.
I don't want that kind of test.
You're so
I don't want that kind of
good.
pressure.
You're looking wiry over here, Dave.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about wire and live baits and trolling plugs and all the good kingfish stuff.
All the good stuff. I'm loving it. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio. Blue light blocking, radically clear polarized fishing sunglasses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Prospect Smoked Meats. Fuel your day the Texas way. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Well, it's time for the rigs and techniques here at the Parts View workbench. And Dave, kingfish in Texas, I know I've done it with Chad, and I had the best of time.
It's a great time. You know, it's a great summertime fish to target. You know, they gather up in really good numbers in the summertime. You know, and Bing was saying that all those menhaden were out there offshore.
Yeah.
Well, the redfish and all that stuff are on. If you just go a little further offshore, if you get to that green, clear water, it doesn't have to be perfectly clear, but if it's long, you know, start to clearing up and get green, and the pogies are there, those menhaden are there, then the kingfish will come and they'll be on top of them too. And that's how you pretty much find them, is you go offshore, 10, 15, up to 30 miles, looking for that good water, and, you know, carry a good pair of binoculars and look for birds attacking stuff, or, you know, fish exploding on the surface.
Right.
And that's pretty much, that's how you're going to find them. And once you find them, you know, you can catch 3 per person, but the possession limit is only double the 3. So a boat can only get 6.
I got you.
You know, even no matter how many you have. And you can once you find that little place where you see some action, you can stop the boat and chum and maybe jig a little if they're down deep, or you can try to catch some live bait, which is probably the biggest fish you're going to catch are probably going to be on live baits. And if you drop a sabiki down, you know, to the bottom, one of R&R sabikis down to the bottom, try to catch yourself a couple of hardtails,
Blue runner.
or a blue, you know,
Same thing.
Yeah, or even any reef fish that's legal, because they will eat anything. And if you bring that up and you put it on a live bait rig over here with some treble hooks on it, you know, that one obviously is made for a ribbon fish.
Yeah.
You know, you can buy those in a lot of stores sometimes. You put a nice ribbon fish on there and put these hooks all down his back and just let it float out the back.
You know what?
While you're jigging or something.
You know what Chad did?
What'd he do?
He put the ribbon fish on there, and as we were drifting along, he attached a balloon so that the ribbon fish would swim like this.
Right, yeah.
It was really cool.
It's great to have a balloon to keep them in a preferred area. But if you're just going to use a hardtail, just use one like this here. You know, a little good sized hardtail. You can put one in his nose and put that treble hook back in his tail. Because all mackerels, they feed by taking off the tail of the bait. You know, they'll see a bait, they'll come smoking in, take the tail off, and then come back, circle back and get the rest. And a lot of times, you know, they won't come back and get that head if they notice something screwy with it.
So is this a 5.0, Dave? Or it seems like it's really thick.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's probably a 6/0.
Okay,
You know,
and then we have a
for a really
5.0
big
here.
bait, but you can go down in size.
And 4X treble hook, eagle claw treble
A
hook.
4X treble hook is what you want to use, and you can use anywhere from 4 up to, you know, number 10 wire, depending on the size of the fish that you're after. Now, a great fun way to do it is to troll hard baits, like that magic swimmer there.
And that's what we did when I went with Chad, is we put it on a dredge.
Yeah, or a planer like this.
I mean a planer.
Yeah, you put it on a planer and get down just a little bit. You know, they also have the PVC planers that a lot of guys use for kingfish. And put any kind of hard bait back there that will really vibrate. You know, you want it to make a lot of noise and vibrate a lot. 4 to 6 knots. You know, you can fish 3 or 4 of those things back there. Try to keep them even so that they're not staggered. You want them all even, because if you make turns out there and they're staggered, then they'll cross. So you want your baits to be perpendicular to each other out there.
Okay.
So and a drone spoon works as well. Put that on a nice piece of wire. All these you're going to rig with that single strand wire from number 7 up to number 10, because you know it's the teeth on a king mackerel are made to just take a fish in half. I mean, they're incredibly sharp. So you got to have that wire on there, or you're going to lose everything.
So how big a rod do we need, Dave? Is this Carnage?
This is a Spin Fisher 7. This, you know, I like to have this is on a Carnage 3. This is kind of a heavier rod. I kind of like to have a really fast tip.
A light tip.
Because kingfish will just shake their head, and especially if you've got a bunch of little treble hooks in them, at the speed at which they can take off, it's good to have a light tip and a strong butt. Right. You know, because just to give a little bit, because you have a hard time getting a hook into the mouth of a kingfish.
Right.
And if he takes off real fast, sometimes he can pull out. Now, when you get these things up on close to the boat, you want to have a good pair of gloves to grab that wire.
Right.
And you want to make sure you gaff kingfish and wahoos and mackerelfish as close to the head as possible, because that way you can control the head and those teeth.
Right.
When that thing's coming in over the side, if you've got it hooked in the back or the tail and he comes off that gaff, he's going to go head first into your feet.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want. No, you want to get him in the head for sure.
Good advice.
In the head. Many digits have been lost.
Yes, many of toes have been lost.
Toes, fingers. All right, Lake Falcon is on fire in the Heroes on the Water Lower Fresh region, along with Amistad, Travis, Stillhouse Hollow, and Lake Austin. So let's get you on them with Matt Reed. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Brave. Let's get this thing kicked off. We're going to start off talking at Falcon Lake, talking about the largemouth. And, I mean, Falcon just continues to shine. The numbers are really good with the big ones showing up often. This last week was a really good crankbait bite. The Berkeley Dime 10 and Dime 15 are doing the heavy lifting. The best colors are blue-black chartreuse and citrus shad. Main lake rock structure is your cranking target. 10 to 15 feet is the zone. 3/8 ounce shaky head with a plum apple Berkeley Maxcent Magnum hitworm is always a catcher to clean up behind yourself on that crankbait. Kurt Dove, sent a report from Lake Amistad. The lake is up 6 feet over the last 4 weeks. That's really great news for a South Texas lake. The top water bite starting to pick up in the new cover in that 1 to 5 foot range. Buzz baits and jaywalkers and shad patterns have been the best option there. Drop shots and minnow baits are working great on the main lake points and ledges. You know, overall, Amistad's kind of in its summer doldrums a little bit, but if you get out there, you can catch some of those shallow fish and also catch some out on the deep ledges. Brian Cotter sent a report from the Austin area. Lake Travis is fishing good. The fish are all over the depth chart. Fishing shallow will get you a lot of bites. There's been a pretty good top water bite up in that new flooded cover. There's also a spinnerbait and crankbait bite around the tall flooded trees up in that shallow water. A lot of you bigger fish are out in 15 to 30 foot of water on those, deep ledges. You want to throw a football jig or a big worm to get you a few big bites. Stillhouse Hollow is fishing great. The fish are up in the shallows around the flooded vegetation and are destroying top water baits such as the Swamp Lord frog. This won't last long, so get out there soon if you want in on some of that fast action. Otherwise, throwing worms and creature baits in the deeper water around 20 feet is a ticket to get you a few big bites. Lake Austin's fishing good. There's still some hydrilla there, so get out there, throw worms and creature baits around it, rig Texas style, and you're going to catch some fish. Watermelons are the best color. Got 2 bass pictures there. Both of these happen to be falcon fish. You got Kirk with a giant fish that actually came on the Berkeley Dime 15 this week. Fished right at 10 pounds. Got Steve with another big one.
Nice.
And now, that's always fun to see those big old fish coming out of South Texas.
Tell me about the catfish, boss.
Got some catfish. Ram Reyes has sent me a report from Falcon. Trophy catfish has been good on the main lake. You want to target those ledges in that 10 to 30-foot range. He's finding the big ones on his electronics, dropping live bait down to them. That's the best way to catch the really trophy cats. Keeper catfish have been good in that 5 to 15 feet of water, using stink bait or cut bait. That's the way to, fill your limit to get you some great fillets to go in the freezer. Got a picture there, one of those big old blues. Falcon's just got tons of those really beautiful blue cats.
Nice. All right, bud. What else you got?
I got us some alligator gar. We got some of those unique giant creatures that you think ought to come in the saltwater. Rod and reel fishing has been really good lately on the shallow flats along the river channel. 3 to 10 feet of water has been the ticket. Fresh cut carp or tilapia have been key. You just want to, those are just kind of like inland tarpon. I mean, they'll jump and carry on. It's an amazing fight. If you want a bowfish farm, it's excellent right now. They're rolling all over the main lake. You can see tons of giant alligator gar surfacing.
All right,
Got a picture there, one of those prehistoric-looking creatures that one of Ram's clients. They're just special fish.
They sure are, man. I love that. That looks cool. All right, dude, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh region hotspots. Matt says Falcon Lake, it's fishing great. The Berkeley Dime 10 and 15 crankbaits on the main lake rocks is the ticket. Concentrate on 8 to 15 feet with corresponding plugs. And then the number of size, it's awesome. Come and join the fun, guys. Let's get in it.
And don't forget your cowboy hat. Saw that picture.
Nope.
Can't catch a bass without a cowboy hat. Just doesn't work.
That's what I've been doing wrong.
That's exactly what, especially in Matt Reed's region. All right, summer is fading fast, but the savings are still blazing hot. It's the final days of the Skeeter Blazing Hot Summer Savings Sales Event, and until September 5th, you can save big with up to $5,000 in rebates on select models. Get the Skeeter boat you've been dreaming about across the popular bass, saltwater, and deep V lines. So visit your authorized Skeeter dealer or go to skeeterboats.com for more details. Nice. All right, well, full swing summer patterns are in store for our upper fresh and Startron middle fresh regions. So get ready for those bass, crappie, striper, and more reports from your guides. And don't forget to stay up to date with everything fishing in Texas. Make sure you scan that QR code on your screen. Follow us on social media, catch the latest fishing adventures on our YouTube channel, Captain McMurphy, and check out our show merchandise to gear up in style. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Abyss Battery. Power your pursuit. Rodan. Set it, forget it, catch more fish. Phillips and Jordan. Building critical infrastructure that matters. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Penn. Let the battle begin.
Welcome back. In the upper fresh region, summer heat means a classic pattern is locked in, and Captain Mike McFarland has the scoop on the big hybrid stripers, plenty of catfish, and where to find those deep water crappie. Let's get started in Studio T. Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Good to see you, Bree. Captain, nice to be here.
Good to see
Dave,
you,
as
bud.
always.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Studio T is air conditioned, but outside it is not. It is hot here in the upper fresh region. Let's tell you about some good bass fishing, though. Lake Levon, Kerry Thorne says black bass are really good in the morning. Chartreuse and white spinnerbaits, 1 to 7 foot around rock and hard structure. Your boat ramps, underwater rock piles, and riprap are your best areas. There's also a live scope bite. If you're really good with the forward imaging, you can fish a swim bait over the crappie-filled brush piles. Of course, you got to find the crappie-filled brush piles first. But the big swim baits with a live scope combination and small crappie piles are catching some big bass on Levon in 10 to 20 foot range. Lake Athens, It's summertime here, and man, there's an offshore bite that is incredible at Lake Athens. It's open water, offshore top water. The Berkeley Bullet Pop in any shad color will work really well. Look for the surface eruptions. You'll see the bass chasing shad. And then you can also kind of throw a wacky worm, a tap-out trick worm around the docks, even just a backup to missed fish on top water that Bass Assassin tap-out trick worm will clean up. Moving to Ray Hubbard, Joe Shipley says the water temps are in the upper 80s, lake is full pool. Early morning bite still consistent with the buzz bait along shallow rock areas. Later in the morning, switch to that shaky head once again with that tap-out trick worm. You're going to hear that a lot in the summertime. The tap-out trick worm catches fish. The deeper rock piles and brush piles will be the key. Watermelon red and green pumpkin. I like to dip those tail chartreuse. Moving on to Fork, we're going to kind of do some of the same thing. It is definitely full swing summer here. Offshore at its finest. Big bass are biting 11-inch worms. The Bass Assassin 11-inch worm is terrific. The plum color or purple color, plum apple. I'm using a big shaky head. It's a 5/8 ounce shaky head. And here's a secret. You're going to fish hard bottom areas. It's no secret in the summer. You're looking for structure and points and humps and things. But try dragging uphill. If you're fishing 14 to 18 foot of water, put the boat in 8 and cast out and drag uphill. You'll get more bites. Yes, you get hung up a little more, but you catch more big fish like these Lake Fork specials right here in this pit.
Nice. All right,
So
what else you got?
common pictures right here. Common fish for us right there on Lake Fork. Catch them every day. Going to the crappie, Lake Levon. Yeah, look at that. I love that. Look at the boy in the back there, too. His mouth's wide open. But the crappie on Levon, Kerry Thorne says excellent, 9 to 25 foot. Timber and brush. More timber is consistent with better keeper size, and the 10 to 12 foot laydowns seem to be gold. The laydowns have the bigger fish there at Lake Levon. Minnows are best. There's plenty of minnows that you can catch yourself at the Lake Levon boat ramps with a 3/16 cast net. Crappie on Lake Fork with Jackie Wiggins. It's the same as last week. Really offshore stuff, full swing pattern. Typically see huge numbers of fish in 10 to 32 foot of water, brush piles, laydowns, timber, underwater bridges, tire reefs. The key here is to find fish on Fork that haven't been pressured. A lot of pressure here on Fork. And downsize. Jackie says if you'll downsize, find smaller minnows or smaller hand-tied jigs and plastics, you'll catch more. Here's Jackie filling the table as always.
Nice.
I love how he gets these picks of fish. It's amazing how he fills the table. Moving to the stripers and hybrids. Same thing as last week. Matt and Kerry Thorne both say they're really good. Levon's really good for the white bass, 15 to 20 foot. Mainland points all day long. 1 ounce slab spoons bounced off the bottom. And then a surface splasher will really help bring more fish to your area. So if you really want to catch even more fish, get one of those surface splashers. It makes noise and draws a lot of fish. Matt Carrade on Tawakoni, he says they're catching quick limits of the hybrids on live bait on humps, 22 to 35 foot. Early morning limits, so hybrids are big. They're great. Here's a good idea what you see from Tawakoni. These hybrids are stripers here in this pick with Cartwright. If you got one more time, I can throw in some catfish for you.
Go ahead.
Like I said, all the lakes are really hot. All the lakes are hot. 10 to 15 foot punch bait fished over pre-baited spots. You don't even have to pre-bait right now. You can get great limits like this.
All right, bub. Thank you. Man, that looks nice. I wish I was having some of that fresh fish myself. Thank you so much this week, Mike. You did an outstanding job. You get an A+. You gets the crown. What do you think, Bree?
A+ in Studio T.
All right, man. We're going to go and take a look at the hot spots.
It's hot outside and it's hot fishing.
There you go.
All right, bud, we're going to go and take a look at the hot spots from the Upper Fresh region. He said Lake Tawakoni is offering quick limits of big hybrids and big stripers, and white bass are biting all day long. Guess what? You can also catch all the catfish that you want to catch and fill the freezer with fresh, delicious fillets.
Fresh, delicious fillets
I have
is what
to
I
be careful
say.
there. I might slip and say something I'm not supposed to.
Exactly. All right. Well, it doesn't come as a surprise. The heat is still trending in the Startron Middle Fresh region, and you may want to fish deep, but Matt Losher might just guide you in a different direction. Go for it, Matt.
All right, Bree. Yeah, here in the Middle Fresh right now, it seems like all summer long it's been this way. It's a story of the water levels. We've had so much up and down this year because, this time of the year, the lakes are all trending downward on the water level. Just that's the way things go with evaporation and generation through the power units through the dams and all that. But we've had so much rain, it keeps jumping it back up. So starting off here at Toledo Bend with the largemouth bass, we're about 1.5 feet below pool right now on the water level here. And so that's pretty high for this time of the year. So the bass still have a lot of options. The current has been kind of hit or miss. They're generating most days, but not every day. So it's been a little tricky lately. These conditions have led for the bass to spread out, and that's a good and a bad situation. The good is you can catch them shallow, and you can catch them deep, and you can catch them in between. So you can kind of pick your poison. So that's the good news. If you're a shallow guy, especially, a lot of times the shallow guys this time of year don't have much to do, but right now they can catch them. The bad part about that is that when they spread out like that, it's a little bit harder to find them because there isn't really a majority shallow or deep. You know, you got some shallow, some deep, and in between. So, you know, people often think that when it's really hot, fish go deep. That's not always the case. Right now, especially with this lake being full, in my experience, water temperature is the last thing they consider. Right now, they've got good grass and good stumps and all kinds of stuff to be on up on the flats and along the banks. So they've got plenty of good cover to hide in the shade with. And there's lots of bait fish up there, so they can go shallow. Don't be afraid to go shallow. If you're up there shallow, you can get a topwater bite in the morning a lot of times if you're in the right spot. If that's not happening, though, you can definitely go to the pitching baits like that Bass Assassin skunk ape. I like the little skunk ape especially right now. It matches those shad really well. I like it in that green pumpkin shadow color is my favorite, or a green pumpkin or watermelon red is good as well. And then there is still some fish out deep. You know, it's Toledo Bend. There's always a deep bite, too. You can get out in 10 to 20 foot. That tap out worm is great in the plum apple color right now. That's been the best bait for those offshore fish. And there are still some big fish being caught. I wish this one came out of my boat, but unfortunately it did not. But I got to show it to you anyway because it's awesome. This is a photo of Mr. Pat Dion, and that's a 12.3 pound bass he caught out of Toledo Bend this past week. So still a lot of big fish being caught. So Toledo's pumping them out. Y'all can still get out there and have some fun, catch some big fish.
All right, what you got, Sam Rayburn?
Over to Sam Rayburn. Rayburn is just the opposite. Water level is dropping like a rock over there. Even with all the rain that we've had recently, it is still coming down. The level's almost 6 feet below pool now. The Corps of Engineers is pulling that water level down really fast. They're trying to get some repairs done on the dam over there, so they're pulling that water level down. They started that project in 2023, but flooding prevented them from finishing it, so they're still trying to get it down and finish that. So, like I said, they're getting it down. They're trying to get it down 6.4 feet. Right now it's at 6, so they're almost there. I'll keep you updated on that as we go throughout the end of the summer and into the fall. But when this is happening, those bass are going to be grouping up more and more at the mouths of the creeks and the drains and out on the edges of the main lake flats because they're trying to get toward that deeper water as the water level falls. It makes for some great fishing. The fish are going to become really concentrated, so the catching is great when that water is low, especially for the offshore fishing. Right now, while it's falling, they're holding on those ledge-type spots in about 10 to 20 feet of water. Crankbaits and worms are excellent, as well as the Carolina rig. They're really catching the numbers over there right now. Those lower water levels are a structure fisherman's dream, but killing that shallow bite for now. So check that out if you like that offshore fishing. All right, now let's talk about some crappie real quick. Back to Toledo Bend. The crappie, like the bass, they're a little bit spread out. They're using a wide depth range. They're from about 15, maybe even a little shallower than that, all the way out to about 30 feet. So the bite's a little on the slow side because they're so spread out. But if you'll slow your fishing down when you get around them, that's the key. You can still catch them good, just slow down. You have to let them really take that minnow slow, or even the jig. Just let them take it. Don't jerk that bait too quick. Be real slow with your movements. Keep that bait still and let them have it. And we're still catching some really big crappie. Lots of big ones lately. Got a photo here for you of Scott Bush and his wife with a big crappie that she actually caught, but it was so big, Scott just had to hold it for the photo, he said.
All right, you got some white bass?
Yeah, touch on those white bass real quick. Livingston always putting out those white bass. They say they're catching them really good down there right now, but they're also in a wide depth range. They're catching them from 6 foot in the morning all the way out to 30 foot. So keep an open mind, especially with the time of day. Move out as they move out. You might see some schooling on the surface in the evenings as well. You can have some fun with that. And then Whitney, they're catching them there in 25 to 30 foot, and they're catching stripers in that same depth. So got a lot going on there at Whitney in that 25 to 30 foot. So you can have some fun with that. The white bass are on the jig and spoons, and they say the stripers are preferring the live bait right now.
All right, thank you so much, boss. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots from the Middle Fresh region. He says the bass, they're biting shallow and deep on Toledo Bend. The falling water levels at Sam Rayburn have made the fish pull away from all those shallows.
Thank goodness for that with the difference in the lakes right now.
Yes.
I mean,
and they're not that far apart. You're talking about 20 miles.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
All right, well, we talked about the Key West Summer Island tournament for weeks, and now we are finally able to announce the winners. Taking home first place, Team Pipe Dream. Congratulations.
Nice.
Second place team, Sandy won. There we go. There's your team right there. And third place team on course. Wow. And then ladies division. Yes, you have something to say?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Lady Angler Leslie Pruitt from Miss Penny. So congratulations to you all. We hope you have the best time in Key West.
Top 3 boats had blue marlin. How about that?
How about that? There we go.
There you go.
There we
Right
go.
out of
Key West Marlin
Let's go,
Tournament.
guys.
I love it. All right, get ready to head offshore in the lower coast region coming right up. But first, Dave Farrell has some Taco Marine new products on tap at the Parks View Workbench.
I do. We got some cool things from Islander, some cool apparel, and some new colors from the Logger Toad.
And you're going to tell us all about it. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Fish to Win. Fenwick, Feel Everything. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. Heroes on the Water, Paddle, Fish, Heel. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a MirrowLure. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. And Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
I'm going to go park the truck, babe. I got the kids. Getting your boat on the water requires your full attention. And having a family with you is no easy task. That's why Power Pole is like having an extra set of hands, making a day on the water the best it could be with less stress and more time for fun with friends and family. Family fun made easy because of Power Pole, and that's your Power Pole tip of the week.
What about that, Dave? This power couple.
Yeah, if I was Joe, I'd never put my shirt on.
I love it.
Ever.
But you know what? It is time to troll the edge with Taco Marine.
Yes.
Here at the Parts View Workbench. We're going to talk a little more about that before the show's over, about old Joe and No Shirt Joe. But let's talk a little bit about some new products, my man.
Well, we're going to start off there with this Island Lure. This is the new Flasher series. It's a nylon skirt. They have a prison mylar outer shell, increased visibility and the realism of the baits. They got the tracker, which is the bullet nose here, which you can troll from 5 to 12 knots. The Island Sea Star, which is that pink one there, which is probably one of my favorite lures. I've caught a lot of wahoos and stuff on that. It's got a really cool head on it that it channels the water and the air out through the skirt, and you can go 6 to 10 knots with that one. And the Outrider, which is the one with the concave head, that's really good for rough conditions. It'll stay straight and keep pounding. It's not, you don't want to go real fast with it, but 6 to 8 knots before it starts to tumble. You can go as fast as any lure can go before it starts to tumble, and then slow down until it starts swimming.
Coach Jimmy Johnson, his favorite. That's his go-to.
It's a good one.
Horse ballyhoo and one of those.
Go to shopmirrorlure.com to get any of those island lures. Next, we have the Eagle Claw L449WR. It's a weedless bait holder hook. It allows you to fish in the areas with a lot of vegetation without worrying about hanging up on every cast. It's got that 2 little bait slits on the shank that your bait will stay on there. It won't go up over that shank. Collapsible weed guard, pushes all the weeds out of the way and will collapse on the bite, for excellent hookups. It comes in 8 different sizes, from a little tiny 6 all the way up to a 4.0, and all those hooks have a forged point.
Right.
So it's really strong and stays really sharp and they're all made in Denver, Colorado.
Yes, they are.
American
Thank you so
made
much,
and
Eagle
designed
Claw.
and put together at eagleclaw.com.
Okay.
Next, we have the Bass Assassin Lager Toad. They've got some 4 new colors here. This is the 4-inch Lager Toad. They have the Icicle, which is really nice here.
And this particular one is the watermelon.
Watermelon with the red glitter.
Red.
And they have the watermelon red glitter with the pearl bottom, which was that's probably my favorite one.
Oh,
I like
come
to have,
on now.
I like
Come
to have
on.
a nice white bottom on my frog.
Oh, man.
That gives anglers a nice buzzing, soft plastic bait. Those little legs there really get whipping when you whip it across the surface.
And you know
it's
what
got
I
a
like
really
to do?
streamlined body too, with a wedge for the hook, so you can make it really, really weedless.
You know what I like to do with these, Dave, is I like to bite the tail off.
Yeah.
Right there on the body. So that these actually
have more room,
not banging into the side of the tail.
Right.
And then you can rip it a little faster.
Yep, you can put that thing through any kind of cover you want to once you got it rigged up.
Yep.
Right. It comes 5 per pack.
Full of garlic, I can tell you that.
Yep, go to Bass Assassin. I wonder how we ever figured out if bass like garlic or not. I guess we just assumed it. We all like garlic. Why wouldn't a bass?
Now, what about this, Dave?
Well, we got Heroes on the Water apparel. Heroes on the Water was founded in 2007. Gives it's a nonprofit. It takes recreational wellness experiences for the veterans and first responders and
first responder families
and their families as well. Military veterans and active duty. So they get them in a kayak and get you out there, and this is some of their apparel. This is a classic T-shirt here. Men's performance, it's a Nike shirt, really nice. 5 different colors, and they have the women's performance zip pullover.
Love this, Bree. I want to see you in this
colors,
one, Bree.
Extra small all the way up to a 4XL. They got the nice bucket hat and the
try
baseball
that bucket
cap.
hat, Dave. Let me see how that looks on you. I'm gonna try this
take
one.
my hat off on TV. Hold on. Look. Oh, yeah. No. Turn it around. There we go. I have hair. I do have hair.
I want it.
Put it back on.
You can go Gilligan style, Dave.
All right.
Gilligan
Enough
style.
of that. Love your bucket hat. I get the quarter zip. Let's do this. All right, get ready for Yamaha's Golden Opportunity Finance offer. From now until September 30th, 2025, purchase a new eligible Yamaha V6 4.2 liter 225, 250, or 300 outboard to get rates as low as 0% APR for 12 months, then 15.99% APR to 20.99% thereafter when purchased on a Yamaha credit card. Visit YamahaOutboards.com for complete details. But variety is the name of the game in the Lower Coast region. Right now with everything from trout and redfish inshore to yellowfin and blue marlin offshore. So let's have Captain Chad Kinney put you on him. Bring us into August, Chad.
I tell you what, we've been talking about weather getting good, and it's been good, and fishing's great inshore and offshore. I've been bouncing around everywhere. So the trout fishing, we always talk about it. People come from all over to get down the Lower Coast, for some good trout action. It's been really excellent lately, especially on the drop-offs along the ICW and some guts that run along it. The redfish are starting to show up, but they're way up shallow on that east side, so I'll talk about that a little bit, how to get to those guys. But the trout fishing right there, right along those drop-offs in the ICW, what I do is I'll pull up my bay boat, and you get like 2 foot of water and power pull down right on the edge, and you'll be casting in a 15 foot, and you'll be casting that 2 foot of water right on that drop-off right there. So live croaker free line's really working great right now. You can add a shatter weight to it. If you're fishing a deeper end, I'd definitely do that. And then when you cast on the edges right there, just let that bait fall down. Sometimes it helps if you just free line some extra line out of your spool. Let it sink down deeper if you're fishing that deep stuff, and you'll find out where the thermocline's kind of at, where those fish are hanging out at. If you use some artificial, and use an 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce Eagle Claw jig head with a saltwater assassin sea shad. It's working really good in the same area. Work the drop-offs, work to the edge of the grass beds right there. For the best results, you'll do good on that. You got a good picture of a nice solid trout here that we released. Been catching quite a few oversized here lately.
Nice.
I'm moving over to redfish. They're way up shallow. When I'm talking shallow, they're up on the east side on the shelf, which is pretty hard to get to. They're up in that calf deep or even shallower water. So the best thing to do is right before you get to that shelf is power pull down early, and then get out, and you got to really make a wade up into there and get it looking good. Look for wakes pushing and bait movement. 1/8 ounce gold spoon, weedless gold spoon, with a fast retrieve works really good. And with this calmer winds we've been having, you'll get a farther cast
So go to the Berkeley topwaters early in with the redfish. You'll watch them. They'll blow up and they're feeding on the finger mullet. So that Berkeley topwater is really a go-to in the morning. I definitely hit there and start that first. And then when it gets a little bit later, 9 to 10 a.m. in the morning, that they're going to start following all that shelf and going a little deeper water. So kind of follow them and follow the bait moving out if you're trying to try to stay on the redfish. Heading out to the offshore, I've been doing a lot of floater trip rigs here because the weather's been good. So we got a lot of great tuna action. And there's some billfish also in that area feeding on yellowfin tuna. They're feeding on blackfin tuna, skipjack tuna. They're out there. A lot of Dorado out there too, actually. But the floater rigs, like we're talking about, it's a long run. We got about a 150-mile run, but it's fast. We're there in 5-6 hours running a 70-foot boat. So it's worth the extra effort by far. Lots of yellowfin. We're trolling during the day, picking them up on that. We're using ballyhoo way out in the long lines in the riggers, and you can put a little chugger head on it, or you can run them naked with that, and they're hitting those along. Just watch your baits really close and get ready to feed them when they hit. Look at your sonar, see what depths they're at. Usually I like to see them in 100, 150 foot. The shallower the better. The more bites you can get. But down real deep, they're not going to come on up. But for trolling, we've been using some brand new pens I just got in, which are great. The 2-speed, 50 wides. We're spooling up with Berkeley 50-pound mono. In a night fishing, we switch over to the jigging with Savage jigs and some poppers on the topwater action. We're going there. So we just fished a little tournament this past weekend. My daughter won the yellowfin tuna division right there. So to Kirsten.
I mean, of course.
Heading out deeper into the floater rigs, pull a full spread for blue marlin. We've been pulling mid-range on the outriggers and chuggers on the flatline, center rigger. We're hitting a teaser bird with the ballyhoo behind it, trolling 7.5 to 8 knots. Look for bait balls, individual marks and that stuff. We're using 50 to 80 wides in this stuff. And at my 80s, I've been spooling up the 80-pound Berkeley mono, and we've been using the orange color, the Pro Spec orange. And the reason for this, you can really help you able to follow the fish in the line where they're moving, the tension on the line from your angler. It'll help you land a lot more fish when you can see what you're doing a lot better. And I bet best time for bill fishing is now through October, so definitely head out there and take advantage of the good weather. And got a picture of my daughter released the blue marlins in the same tournament there.
So she releases a yellowfin, releases a blue marlin.
She kept the yellowfin.
How did you guys end up overall in the tournament, Chad?
Well, we ate the tuna and one grand champion and one yellowfin and one tag and release.
So that's the second year in a row our girl has won first
Home
place.
for a three-peat next year.
She's got that Kenny in her, man.
And then I come out there and we came in second. I must be the bad luck.
You need to stay home.
She's a better angler, she'll tell you.
just like her mama.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Chad. We're going to go. Congratulations.
Yes,
and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower coast hotspots. Chad says inshore trout fishing remains excellent in the lower coast along the ICW and Spoil Islands. The redfish are up on the shelf, really shallow on the east side, and then offshore, the fishing's good at the floater rigs for yellowfin tunas and blue marlins.
Yes, sir. All right, well, it's time to take a look at Seize the Social. And this week we came across our very own familiar face, Rick Murphy, with some family shenanigans.
Yes.
So let's take a look.
Let's go.
Family shenanigans.
Here's a real one.
Yeah, it's real.
Sometimes when the time is right, like tangled lines, a little family fun ensues.
Getting them? Come on, get a little bit on.
Yes, Ridge.
Oh, my God.
Come on, Pop.
Ridge. Oh, man. Ridge got me.
That is amazing. I'm
Surprised
just,
it hadn't broke off yet.
makes me so
got
happy.
Wait, watch
He's
it.
getting you.
He's getting me.
I think he's getting you. You are.
You really didn't know.
Ah, got cut off.
He always, somehow or another, when I'm
That was awesome.
sleeping, whatever I am,
What are you
he
gonna do?
always gets me.
He got you good.
That was a
Because
good one.
I have trust issues, but I have lots of trust in him. So that's why he's always the one getting me.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to find out?
I found out when Jeff Barnes was doing the editing for that show,
I love
and he
it.
showed me. He goes, "Oh, by the way, I want to show you
I
something."
love when Rick Murphy gets got, and that's a cute bucket hat. All right, if you have a clip worth sharing, make sure you send it our way, scan the QR code, or drop it in our DMs. Y'all look cute in your heroes on
Oh,
you
It's
took yours
red.
off.
It's my favorite color,
that was
and
my
I
hat.
can only
All right. Well, everybody,
be worn Gilligan style.
Stay cool, get out there and catch those fish, and we'll see you next week. Adios.
Especially after the season social.
Keep that down.